Welcome to our channel, where we update the hottest, most shocking, and never-before-revealed developments of the hit TV series The Young and the Restless. Today, we bring you a fascinating story, based on unexpected details, full of drama and can completely change the situation in Genoa City. A DNA shock, a cold revenge plan, an unexpected turn of events, and a series of chain reactions will throw the lives of key characters into unprecedented chaos. If you think you've seen all the twists in this series, get ready, because what's about to happen will shock the whole of Genoa City. When Jack discovers Kyle's DNA test results, he stands frozen in his private office for hours. That small piece of paper has the power to destroy a lifetime of trust. His name was not in the biological father's notes, but instead a completely unknown name, a man whose identity was unknown, hidden by Diane for decades. The worst thing was not the truth, but the fact that he had been deceived from the beginning to the end. The fatherly love he had cherished, the sacrifices, the suffering, the tears he shed for Kyle, were all the result of a sophisticated lie. Jack did not scream, did not cry, nor did he turn to alcohol like the previous times of suffering. He quietly closed his heart, and began to plan his revenge, not a sudden blow, but a series of actions that destroyed every piece of trust, every relationship that Diane had worked hard to build since returning to Genoa City. First, Jack hired a detective to reinvestigate Diane's entire past, from the day she died until her unexpected return. From there, he discovered another secret that was even more terrible. Diane had been threatened by a powerful man in the medical industry, with whom she had a brief relationship in New York, and who might be Kyle's real father. That man had bought Diane's silence to avoid being affected by her reputation. Jack understood that if this truth was exposed, not only Diane but also Kyle's legal existence in the Jabot Corporation would be shaken. Jack began to drag Kyle into a series of cruel psychological tests. He assigned him to high strategic positions at Jabot, but continuously exposed him to cleverly arranged failure situations, causing Kyle to gradually lose confidence and doubt himself. When Kyle turned to Jack for advice, he simply said that some people were just not meant to lead the Abbott legacy. A seemingly innocuous remark that cut deep into Kyle's self-esteem. At the same time, Jack was secretly working with Ashley to remove Diane from the board of directors. As the majority shareholder, he began to expose financial irregularities in projects Diane had worked on. Ashley, who had never trusted Diane, immediately responded. Within weeks, Diane had been suspended from all positions at Jabot. She was bewildered, not understanding what was happening, because Jack, who had been her strongest fortress, had now become her most dangerous enemy. Diane tries to find a way to save the situation, but something even more terrible awaits her. Jack sends her a copy of the DNA results with a cold note. "Do you understand what it feels like to be betrayed?" Diane trembles when reading those lines. She knows she has lost everything. And worse, Jack does not stop. He organizes a large family meeting at the Abbott mansion. When everyone is gathered, Jack stands in front of his father's portrait, slowly announcing the truth that Kyle is not his biological son. The atmosphere in the room falls into a state of freezing. Kyle is struck by lightning, and Diane collapses on the spot. The silence is so long that you can hear a pin drop. No one speaks up to defend her this time. Even Tracy, who is usually gentle, cannot say a word of sympathy. Diane is kicked out of the Abbott mansion in the pouring rain. She stood alone in the storm, with no home, no family, no position, no future. But in that utter darkness, Diane began to conceive a new idea. If she could not have this family back, she would destroy it from the roots. She sought out Victor, who had a lifelong grudge against Jack, and offered to cooperate. In return, she would give Victor evidence of internal wrongdoings at Jabot, along with the entire plan Jack had used to manipulate the board of directors. Victor, seeing a rare opportunity, began to intervene in the war. He was behind the scenes pulling the strings of shareholders, which created pressure on Jack to lose his leadership ability due to personal bias and unclear decision-making. Step by step, Jack's power began to crack from within. Kyle, after a long period of despair, receives an anonymous letter, containing evidence of his real father. The second shock sends Kyle spiraling deeper into alcoholism and disorientation. Jack tries to save his son, but for the first time, Kyle turns his back on him, bitterly blurting out the truth. You ruined me because I'm not your biological child. What about me? What about me? Jack, who once prided himself on being the pillar of strength, is now driven into isolation and cynicism by his own actions. Meanwhile, Diane, now a public enemy of the Abbotts, begins to reappear at big parties, arm in arm with Victor as a declaration of war. Everyone is shocked to see the alliance between two people who once hated each other. But Diane has changed. She is no longer the woman who longed for forgiveness. She is the one who was pushed to the bottom and now returns to end it all. Genoa City has never seen such a fierce family war. Every step Diane takes is a step closer to the edge of Jack's cliff. Every move Jack makes is another step to further shatter the already fractured relationship between him and Kyle. Both are hurt, both are victims of each other, but neither is willing to admit it. The father-daughter relationship is now a never-ending internal war, and Diane is the unpredictable trigger for it all. If you think the DNA truth is the end, you are wrong. This is just the beginning of a new storm where identity, power, family and trust are overturned, twisted, pushed to a bloody climax. Who will survive? Who will fall to the bottom? And is there anyone strong enough to put the pieces of a broken family back together? Stay tuned to our channel for the next shocking developments of this exciting ongoing drama.